If you were here with us this morning, you had the pleasure of hearing from Michael Sorrell. Well, he is back with us tonight. We're really thrilled to have him. Michael is the president of Paul Quinn College, which is an HBCU in Dallas. Yes. And he has been president for 15 years, the longest-serving president there. During his tenure, he's improved graduation rates by more than 25%, reduced student loan debt by $30,000, built the first new buildings on campus in 50 years, created the Urban Work College model, and won HBCU of the Year, and so much more. We're really thrilled to have him here and share his insights with us. So, here to talk about leadership in the current state of higher education, please give it up for Michael Sorrell.
Thanks a lot. All right. Good evening. That was terrible. You might not know this, but Paul Quinn College is a historically black college. Historically black colleges come from the black church tradition. Now, I recognize 15 of you have been to a black church before. However, black churches are a call and response tradition. So if I speak to you, I expect you to say something back to me. I went to Catholic schools. You gave me a Catholic response. So let's try this again. Good evening. Good evening. That is so much better. Now, what I did not tell you is in the black church, we have a pass the offering plate tradition. So let me thank you in advance for being donors to Paul Quinn College. So, tonight, we're going to talk about dreaming on behalf of another. Dreaming on behalf of another. I picked this title because the reality of it is we are in the education business, and what we should be doing is dreaming on behalf of another. Our students are worthy of our dreams. If your dream is a dream that focuses on I and me, you are in the wrong profession. So let's talk about dreaming on behalf of another. When I was growing up, my grandmother told me that my life will only be as great as the fear that I choose to conquer. We are living in a society where too many of us are afraid. We are afraid to do anything leadership-oriented because we don't want to be criticized. We don't want to be mocked. We don't want to be told that we're wrong or disinvited to things. The moment you give in to fear, your life has begun becoming small. No one deserves a small life. Small lives are not the things of dreams. So as we spend our few minutes here together, I want you to keep in mind that our goal at the end of this is to give you the courage to be people who can be free. To be free. This is my mother. I do not know who this guy is, but that is my mother. My mother was someone who from the very first day told me that she expected me to be great. She was unapologetic about that. When I was a boy, she gave me if. She made me memorize it. It was traumatic. It was a long poem. I make my students memorize it now because trauma can go through generations, all right? But my mother taught me about dreaming, and she taught me about greatness. And she told me a couple things about greatness. She said, this is the pathway to being great. She said, my dream for you is that you will be bold. My dream for you is that you will be selfless, because there are no great people who are selfish. You cannot accomplish great things being selfish. And she said, my dream for you on your path to greatness is becoming an architect of solutions. You will come across hundreds of thousands of people who will traffic in problems. People who will show up and just tell you, I can't do this, I can't do that, we can't do this. Spend no time in their company, she said. She said, be a person who solves the problems for others. This is the pathway to greatness. Be bold, be selfless, be an architect of solutions. Let's talk about what it means to be bold. These, I would argue, are the two greatest college presidents in the history of higher education. Now, I recognize this is an ASU+GSV event. Michael Crow is a friend of mine. I disqualified all currently living college presidents. All right? he will rank very, very highly. I do like this conference. I want to be invited back, all right? So let me introduce you to these two men. The black gentleman is Benjamin Mays, president of Morehouse College for almost 30 years. Benjamin Mays was the intellectual founder or the intellectual father of the civil rights movement. He taught Dr. King. He taught Maynard Jackson. He taught Julian Bond. He was a legend. He was a Baptist preacher. He was extraordinary. He made Morehouse what it is. Next to him is William Rainey Harper, the president of the University of Chicago. Do you know he laid the foundation for community colleges? Now, I know you don't typically think of the University of Chicago and community colleges in the same sentence. However, he came up with an idea where students would spend their first 2 years at their schools closer to home so that they could save money and be a bit better prepared. He also created the idea of extension education. Weekend and evening classes, he came up with that. They solved the big problems of their society. Civil rights was Benjamin Mays's. William Rainey Harper made education more accessible. They tackled difficult problems. They didn't have to worry about getting blasted on social media. They didn't care about making others uncomfortable. They solved the problems of their day, not the problems that paid. And let me say that again. They solved the problems of their day, not the problems that are paid. Right now, it is tough being a college president. I've been one for 17 years. I've seen my peers come and go. I hear people criticize college presidents not using their voices. And then I see them criticized for using their voices. We have to decide whether we are going to be a society that wants our leaders to be bold or whether we want our leaders to be cowed, to go along with the crowd. You cannot be great if you aren't willing to be bold. Let's talk about being selfless. In a few moments, I'm a little concerned that 20 people know who these people are. All right? You'll know in a minute. The little girl is Ruby Bridges. The second picture is one of the Little Rock Nine. They are up here because let me tell you what it means to be selfless when you are a child. That you are willing to walk into the belly of hate every day, not knowing what evil lurked behind the counter or the corner, and being willing to do that day after day after day because you represent hope for an entire race of people. Look at the faces of these women behind her. She just was going to school. I had the occasion to meet the Little Rock Nine. They were incredible. To listen to their stories about what it was like that people would rather close an entire school than to go to school with you simply because of the color of your skin. How many of us would speak up today? Because I live in Texas, and there are a whole lot of silent people who don't want people to learn these history lessons. Oh, you know better if you live in Florida and you haven't spoken up either. You can't say that you are willing to be selfless and to do great things when you are given an opportunity to be great and you cow. You don't stand up. And then you come to conferences like these and you see people like me and you think we're cool. We're not cool. You don't even want to make sure my history is taught. What's going to happen when it's yours? You cannot be great if you aren't willing to speak truth to power. It doesn't work that way. Let's talk about what these two women are doing. Now, Eva Longoria is changing the face of philanthropy because most people don't think about Latinas and philanthropy, but her work is incredible. The other woman is Mackenzie Scott. She's not up here because she gave us money. Apparently, we're like the only school in America that didn't get money from Mackenzie Scott, right? But I am not a hater, okay? What she has done is extraordinary, and she deserves to be praised. Greatness requires boldness. Greatness requires selflessness. Greatness requires the ability to look around, dream on behalf of another, and do things that make other people uncomfortable by challenging the ideas and norms. It's about being the architects of solutions. Both of these women are architects of solutions. We are architects of solutions at Paul Quinn College. We created something called the Urban Work College Model. And let me tell you what that means. That means if you come to our school, you get a job. You know why it's important to get a job when you come to college? Because 80% of today's college students are working more than 20 hours a week. So this idea that students are just hanging out on the quad at college and drinking and in lap pools, and I saw the pictures that Michael had in his. We don't have climbing walls at Paul Quinn College, right? We don't. We're too busy, right? We're too busy working and helping our students work. You come to Paul Quinn, you get a job where you work an average of 15 to 20 hours per week, and not the work-study jobs. We're talking about internships off campus at businesses in the city of Dallas, right? Because our students, 75% of them are Pell Grant students, which means they don't have the relationship capital to find jobs on their own. So we do that for them. It has allowed us to reduce the student loan debt by $30,000. It's allowed us, thank you. It's allowed us to also increase our graduation rate. We're now up by over 30%. It's allowed us to take our students from having dreams here to having dreams here. But on the way, that's not all we did. We created a program called the Village Program. If you're a Pell Grant student and you're admitted to Paul Quinn College, you can bring 2 friends or family members with you to school. Let me tell you why that's important. Because higher education is the only place that expects the students who are coming with the least amount of resources to be superheroes. We ask one student to change the entire direction of their whole family cycle. If you live in America and you are a first-generation college student, America has failed you and your family. Right? Think about it. And we hear this enrollment cliff idea that there's not enough people coming to college. Everywhere I look, I see first-generation college students. So what it leads me to believe is the problem that we don't have enough students to go to college, or is the problem that too many colleges don't want the students that are available? I'll say that again for those in the back. Is the problem that there aren't enough students, or is the problem that the students that are available are students that most colleges or many colleges don't want? Right? Those students are Pell Grant students. Those students are adult learners who are going to require your offices to stay open after work, that are going to require people to show a little more patience, to require people to meet them where they are. It will never be a one-size-fits-all operation again in higher education. It shouldn't have been in the first place. You have to meet people where they are. You have to lift them to the places that they can dream. But too many of our students have been taught to dream in black and white. We have to help them dream in color. So here's the thing. You have to dream on behalf of another. These little girls, the one in the middle with the kind of knowing smirk, that's my daughter. Okay? Right? She got dreams for all of us, all right? Let's be very, very clear. But the reason I use her picture is because I'm dreaming on behalf of her, and I'm dreaming on behalf of her brother, and I'm dreaming on behalf of these girls and their friends, and I'm even dreaming on behalf of all of your kids. Because here's what I know. You don't have the luxury of being selfish with your dreams. You don't have the luxury of pretending that if your life is okay, then your life is going to stay okay. It doesn't work that way. All of us are completely related in the concept of this. We share this society. If the kids in Alabama are struggling, they cannot hide that struggle from the kids in New York City. If the families in the Rio Grande Valley of Texas are struggling, they cannot hide that from what goes on in Boise, Idaho. So technology has made us all connected. We have to address that. So here's what you need to know, and then I am going to get off the stage and go find some wonderful party to hang out with some of you, right? Nothing great happens from places of comfort. Nothing great happens from places of comfort. If you want a comfortable life, you will never be great. And you have to accept that. Greatness requires challenge. Greatness requires boldness. Greatness requires the ability to be selfless. Greatness requires you to be an architect of solutions. It requires you to be willing to step outside your comfort zone in the service of others. So as I leave you tonight, I leave you with this question. Who are you willing to be uncomfortable for? Who are you willing to be uncomfortable for? I hope that your answer will include people who are not related to you, who do not work for you or work with you. I hope your answer will be, I'm willing to be uncomfortable for all of us so that all of us can have better lives. Thank you. I wish you the best and take care. Thank you. Thank you.